Hey everybody, it's Lucy. Well, I've got a little confused today because of the time. And so I had in the event, I had put 1 p.m. Central Time, but really we are 2 hours behind Eastern Time. So 12 o'clock right now is when we were due to go live. So here we are. We don't want to disappoint you. So, just a few housekeeping tips. If you're joining us live, in the comment, do hashtag live, or if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. And also above, you will see a strip that says StreamYard. Click on that and let StreamYard give StreamYard permission to use your name in case you want to do some comments. Because if you want to comment, then if you don't give permission for StreamYard to use your name, you will come across as Facebook user and we won't know who's joined us. And if you don't want to make any comments and you simply want to react, then you know that we want hearts, we love hearts, and it helps the algorithm. So, okay, so that takes care of our housekeeping tips. So, as you know, usually Thursdays are the days that I do my interviews, my discussion with my awesome guests. And my awesome guest today and I met online. And wouldn't you know, we have some of the same mentors. Bob Proctor, for one, Tony Robbins, and Dean Graziosi, to name a few. And so, as you know, I'm coming in from Mexico. Also, in the chat or in the comments, tell us where you're coming in from because I'm coming in from Mexico, as you well know, and my guest is from the USA. So, without any further ado, let us meet my guest today. I think Kim Riley. How are you, Kim?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, great, great, great. Listen, Kim, as you know, I'm coming in from Mexico. You're in the USA. What part of the USA are you coming in from?
I live in Denver, Colorado.
Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
So, Mariah's telling us that she's from Alaska. Thank you, Mariah, for joining us today. So, tell me, Kim, were you born in Denver, Colorado?
No, I was born in Seattle,
In,
Washington, but
okay.
moved here when my dad was in doing his medical residency. So moved here when I was in first grade.
Oh,
So
okay.
not
So,
really technically a native. They're very
but
particular
all
about it.
but almost, if you've been there since 1 year old, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's how you ended up in Colorado because of your dad, right?
Yeah, I grew
Okay.
up here. And yeah, and I'm a big skier and I'm a hiker and mountain biking and tennis player and all the outdoor stuff is great. So yeah.
Well, we have a lot in common because I love downhill skiing. Not that I can do it in Mexico, but the last time I did it was, before well, actually, I had moved here already. I went to uh, to Switzerland on a trip, and that was the last time I downhill ski. So I miss it so much, and I am a tennis player too. So
Oh, is
we
that
have
right?
that
I
in
may have
common.
known that in a previous conversation, or yeah, I may have known that anyway. Yeah,
That is so cool because it's nice to know what people like to do and what you have in common with people and whatnot. So here's the other thing I wanted to ask you. As you know, a lot of our members in the Wow Club are KBBers, which is KBB stands for Knowledge Business Blueprint, and a lot of them are from the next level, Progress Next. So I think that both of us are students of the KBB. For me, Progress Next also, and I think you joined as for with Progress Next, right, in 2020. I think you mentioned.
yeah, yeah. I think it was when KBB had just changed its name or rebranded or whatever
Right.
that was to Project Next. Yeah.
So I know what brought me to Dean and Tony's program. What brought you to that program?
Well, it was a little. was going to say circuitous, but that's not totally true. I Years ago, I am a life coach by training. Before that, I was working in health education, public health. But when I got my life coach certification, it was through the Robbins Madonis Institute. I have a
Okay.
couple of different certifications since then. But anyway, I really loved Tony's work of watching the videos and seeing what he did. So that's the certification I got. And then how it eventually came to, I mean, I was on a mailing list, right? And so how it came to Dean and Tony and their combined efforts, I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, the whole thing of knowledge, the self-education industry, right? Like they talk about,
Yeah.
interested me too. So yeah. Anyway, originally through Tony, and then somehow Dean that came across my emails as well, and
Right.
yeah.
And so I know that you've been in the health industry for about 30 years. What was your thought when you joined the Progress Next? Were you going to do a course on health? Or, I mean, there must have been a thought there. What was that? You know,
Yeah, with
I'm
well,
picking your brain here.
yeah, with Project Next, it was I was interested in it because of the creating a course on something, and then being knowing that you can
Right.
sell it and people can buy it, and you could originally record it live and all of that.
Mhm.
I was interested in that just because of the ongoing the evergreen part of that or whatever
Right.
of making sales. But the course I had up on Mastermind was around tennis. It was a combination of
Oh,
tennis and some of the work I've done in life coaching. And that particular year, 2020, I play league tennis, which is recreational competitive tennis. It's
right.
not at all the big leagues, but anyway, league tennis is a big thing in this country, and
It is.
um, I have I was using some of my body centered techniques, energetic techniques for my tennis playing, and my tennis it improved like drastically. And I said,
Mhm.
"Wow, this is cool." So this would be something to teach. It's a
Right.
real small niche of people who were in. I mean, I was specifically targeting tennis players, but people in sports, kind of that cross of sports psychology and or yeah, and the sport itself.
And that
So
worked really well because you were in the health prevention, really, weren't you? The health industry. But
yeah,
what were
before
you
that.
exactly? What were you exactly doing? Because I think you with some. I think you were in Latin America and you were working with disenfranchised communities and whatnot, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I was working. I have my master's in public health education, health behavior and health
mhm.
education. And I've had worked in various different capacities within that field. But yeah, for some of my time, I lived in Ecuador.
Okay.
My mom's Cuban. I grew up speaking Spanish some, and I just
Mhm.
wanted to live in a country where I could speak it and use it. And so my husband, not yet, my fiance and I moved down there, and we lived in Ecuador for a while. And I was teaching health education classes for the public health ministry, as it was called, for one of their local clinics. And yeah,
So
so that was Latin America and teaching various things in
So
Spanish to the community.
it sounds to me like something was brewing. You were doing that, but you were also wanting to be a coach because I think you have three certifications you mentioned, and then comes along Tony, and you have this idea that you can write a course. You write a course on tennis. So is that course up on Mastermind, by the way?
It's not now.
Okay,
I Yeah, it's not now. I mean, it's laid out, and I had it up on Mastermind, but I'm not focusing on that right now.
right. Okay.
And marketing that as intently as I need to do to have it going. But yeah, it's all put together. Not up there
So
now.
it's interesting. It just sounds to me like you gun ho, get enroll in this course. Probably next, you write a course for tennis. You have this coaching background, and you're pivoting. You're
Yeah, right.
pivoting
Pivoting.
because
That's Steve's word, right? Pivot. I've done a lot of pivoting.
which is good, right? I mean, because we're always looking to see where we fit best, And you know you have an inner calling, but you're not quite sure what it is yet, right? Am I right?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I know I have, do I not know for sure what it is? I mean, I just have a lot of different interests. So
Yeah,
there's not just one particular topic area, content area anyway, that is like my calling. I think the broad umbrella of my calling is to be working with women in our age group, um,
right,
helping them progress, helping them gain new skills, helping them, with whatever can move them forward, not just in their life around their relationships and all that. I've done some relationship coaching, but also, financially.
right.
So that's kind of my bigger umbrella, is what can I contribute out there. But yeah, I mean, when I thought of the course, I was like, okay, I have a life coach certification. I know tennis. I love that sport. It's like, how can I combine them both? And so that was kind of a little mini thing.
Right.
It's not
Well,
like,
it's really,
oh, my calling is to work with the sports world.
yeah, well, it's very, I love it because a lot of our members, as you know, we do a marketing program, and some of them, when they first come to the marketing program, they think they know what they want to do, but but they all have this umbrella. But there's so many people I want to touch. There's so many things that I can do, and one of the hardest things for us in that program is getting them to niche down. you know, niche down because you've got
Right.
to start somewhere. Yes, you
Right,
can
finding
end
your
up.
dot, right? I mean,
Yeah,
how much of the training is Dean talking about finding that dot? And
yeah,
so when I
and
was designing a course, I was like, okay, what's a dot? What's a really specific
right,
dot? Whether, yeah, again, that sports was my calling.
right.
I
But
don't
then,
know. Yeah, narrowing it
but
down.
I know that you have found your dot because you now are a financial independence coach for women, 40 to 60 years old. So it sounds like you have narrowed down your niche. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think the population of people, right, of women my age, because of that whole thing of like, what's my experience, and
Right,
how can I work with women in my same stage of life. Um, but yeah. I mean, I think I am, have narrowed down my bigger umbrella
right.
to think about how to really specifically help women in a way that is, I think, well, especially in this day and age, and like specifically this year, is a really important, um,
Right.
have a really important message to get out around that, around finances and financial security and what that's about. I mean, I think we're coming into a huge recession, and
Yeah.
there's, what is Tony? I was just on Tony's UPW for a couple hours ago, um, and
So
he was
was
getting
I
on.
had to.
Yeah. And he was getting on it, and I've heard him say this before, but he said, well, when there's a problem, there's always a solution, right?
Right.
So, and he has said this too, and he was referring to another story at that moment, but when I'm thinking of this, like, just what's our problem now financially as a country and as a world, there's a huge problem right now. And I do think that part of what I'm doing now, that what I'm doing is part of the solution. So,
It's really interesting, Kim, because your background is in health.
yeah.
And part of you keeping healthy are the sports that you're involved in. I mean, there's no better way to keep in shape as far as I'm concerned because I don't like gyms. I'm not like you.
Intense.
Outdoor sports is the way I keep in shape, the way
Yeah.
I like to do it. But what makes you want to do the financial coaching? I mean, at what point did you go from the health to the finances, and how does all that fit together?
Well, a year ago, I really
Mhm.
delved into the financial education for myself. And we
Okay.
talked some about this before, but yes, I was working in health, and then I went into life coaching, which was broader than just physical health. A
Right.
lot of the health education work I was doing was working with people with chronic illness and helping them get more physically active. Um, but then I moved from there to life coaching because I wanted to be broader. I wanted to be more specific, with the population I was working with, and I
Right.
was really intrigued by, like, how do people really change behavior? Like, a lot of my health education work, I was giving information, but people were still eating their same crappy food and not doing anything. So that's why then, fascinated by Tony and his ability to really help people make some changes. And went that route.
Mm-hmm.
And then a year ago, I, with life coaching or any kind of coaching, I don't think it's particularly easy to get clientele. I think you spend a lot of time marketing yourself.
Yes.
And I was finding I was kind of I had some clients, but I was in a bit of a slump and thinking, gosh, how am I going to find my next client? Where is that coming from? How do I do this? And there are so many different coaches out there. And I always wonder, okay, so it's a fast growing industry, but I'm like, okay, it's a fast growing industry because there are a lot of people getting certified. The bar is low to get into the field, right?
Right. Right.
It's not easy to find clients, and it wasn't easy for me. And so when the whole financial education came across to me, I was like, well, maybe this is something, and I can learn a skill that is where it's just me and me. Like I can learn a skill, learn how to make my own money where I'm not having to depend on other people to do it for me, like, or other people to get my clientele, that whole thing. So a year ago, I found out about this online education program. I also it also kind of dawned on me, and I actually posted this yesterday on Facebook last night because it dawned on me a year ago. It's like, my husband's always been the one to be our investor. He knows, he knows about the stock market, all of these, our longer term investments and all of that. And I just wasn't, we just don't have financial education in school. We don't. And I think generally speaking, we don't. And whatever, if you're a business major, maybe, or an econ major, maybe, but that wasn't me. I was into psychology and behavior. It wasn't finances. But a year ago, I realized that's like, what I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna know nothing about finances. I'm not gonna, I'm just going to depend on my husband. And the part in the post that I wrote about was like, I just had this light bulb, like, no, like I'm here. Part of my mission is to empower women, to like have them be independent. Part of that is knowing something about your finances and what to do. And it's like, I'm not even practicing what I preach. It's like, okay, well then, it's time to start learning something about this. So anyway, so that was my kind of pivot at that point a little over a year ago.
Well, that's very
I got to learn
interesting.
this myself. I've got to be a more empowered woman.
Right. Now, and so the idea that women between 40 and 60, it's really, if you're 40, it's 20 years, 25 years before you retire. But if you're 60, you're pretty close to retirement. And I know for a fact that the statistics of people turning 65 in the United States and worldwide, the statistics are terrible. I think it's 91% are either dead, broke, or dead.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
So okay, so you joined. I think when we were talking, you joined an academy, kind of
Mhm.
an academy of millionaires, so to speak. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because what you wanted to do was gain a new skill, like you said. You had a lot of background, and so for you it was really important for you to know something about finances because of your age. If something happened to your husband, then where would you be? And so you're really taking care of, it's a prevention again. You were in health prevention, now you're in financial prevention kind of thing. So tell us how you did that, how you acquired the skill that you now have that you would like to teach other people, other women in that
Yeah,
industry.
so I did enroll in an academy, an online education academy that has multiple different verticals, I guess is the best word, within it.
Yeah,
So there's the bigger academy, and then there's verticals within it. So if people have desire to do different, have different ways to build their income, they can do it.
right.
But what I chose was to learn about and gain a skill in trading. So it's very, very short-term investment, like daily,
Hmm.
and how to compound my money daily. And the goal is to compound it at 3% a day, which is incredible. Am
That's
I 3%
incredible.
a day?
Yeah,
No, not yet.
yeah,
But there are mentors, there are educators in this academy who are vetted around the world. They're culled and then vetted through a pretty extensive process. to become an educator in the academy. And yes, so all the educators are millionaires in their respective area of expertise. So I follow four, actually, four different of the educators who are experts in trading. There's also an
Mhm.
e-commerce vertical academy, and there are more than a couple of experts in that vertical who are teaching people live
Right.
how do you make an online income if you're selling your own products. So that's totally different than trading, but it's part
Right.
of the academy as well. So that's how I was introduced to it by a friend who is a coach in a coaching collaborative I was in.
Mhm.
Yeah, with a bunch of struggling coaches trying to get clients.
Well,
Um,
that's the way it
and
goes.
he told
Yeah.
me he told me about this, and so I was like, At first, I'm like, no, this scares me. Like, I don't know much about financial stuff. No, but like a month later, I came back. It's like, well, I don't know, what is this? And I came back intrigued because, like I said, I wanted to learn more about, just have more financial wherewithal myself. But I also learned that I only had to spend an hour to two a day
Okay.
focused on this. So I do it from 6 to 8 in the morning, which for the trade, and I don't know with the e-commerce when the best time of day, but there's absolutely a best time of day to do this trading work. So
Right.
from 6 to 8 in the morning, that's what I do, and that's it. And so that leaves the time of the rest of my day to do whatever else I'm doing, whether it's you know marketing for clients or marketing for. I'm an affiliate marketer as well, and have a program, an app that I've just learned about that helps people engage more quickly. It's an automated system that helps people engage more quickly with their prospects. Um, but anyway, I have the time to do that. So
Oh,
it
wow.
was something that
That's
I came into to learn from very highly educated people, just a couple hours a day. So
that's very interesting. So you've been in this academy for the past year, you mentioned, right?
yeah. Hmm.
So you're pretty well versed in that department. Elise just kind of she just
Did somebody comment?
yes, she just said,
Oh,
"Very
okay.
cool, very cool. This is
Oh,
awesome."
Elise.
Elise
I
says.
recognize Elise's
So
name. Yeah.
thank you, Elise, for joining us. Thank you, Mariah, also for being with us. So this is interesting to me because this is something very specific that you feel that you can actually help other women learn because it's good. I've always believed that your coach should be just one or two steps ahead of you, to really be able to coach you well. I mean, are you of that thinking also? Or I mean,
Yeah.
Dean's great, Tony's great. They're great with the mindset. But they're not going to sit down with us and teach us,
Yeah.
like, what my
Right.
team and I do in the Launch Lab marketing program. We
Right.
actually hold people's hands all the way through the 8 weeks that it takes for them to learn how to market online.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is what you're willing to do, right?
Yeah. And I'm not that, there's one of the educators in the academy, a woman, and I'm not in that vertical now. So this is the Stocks and Futures Academy. If people want to learn
Mhm.
more about long-term investing,
Yeah.
or short-term trading it day to day. But so her name is blanking right now. Anyway, she was on Wall Street her entire career. She's in her mid 60s, and
Right.
she was recruited by the owners of this company saying, would you come and be an instructor for us? And so
Right.
she is. But anyway, so I'm not somebody like that. I was trying to remember what my point was. I'm not
Right.
somebody like that. There is no way. She's got 40 freaking years working on Wall Street as a financial analyst.
Right.
No, I'll never be that. I've been in this for a year. So
Yeah.
so being that to your point of two steps in front of my clientele, that is true. A year ago, I was nowhere near where I am now. I mean, there are many things I can talk about and educate on that are like a year ago, I had no idea. And I have so much more to learn. But yeah, I kind of picture myself as being that somewhere on that, like Dean talks about the bridge,
Bridge. Mhm.
pointing the point, you know, I'm like on part of me sees myself as that bridge person. So
Right.
for women who are like, gosh, I don't, I'm having trouble getting clients too. I don't know, or they're not, but I don't know much about my finances. I'd like to learn more, but that's just like, no, I'll just leave it to my financial advisor to figure it out.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
but I'm that kind of person who's between, the woman who's going, no, no, this isn't for me. I'm not interested. It's too technical. I can't do this. And the experts who were like this woman who are, these
Right.
financial gurus, and just being, bringing women along with me and saying, look, we're together in this. We're all learning from the experts. We're in here live with them every single day. So they're telling us what to do, what not to do. Take this step, don't take this step. What mistake did you make? Okay, let's start over. Like, so we're in there with those experts. But then I am there with these women going, let's go, let's go. We can do this together. We can learn this. I can review what he went over
Exactly.
because I know a lot of the basics now.
Exactly.
So just to be that, person on the ground with people
Well,
to help them cross the
that
bridge.
that is so important. That's exactly what my team and I did with the Project Next. We were there a year before, and these new people came in, and it's like, we've been there. We could take you to the next step because we know what the next step is,
Yeah.
and it's so important. I think for people when they need a coach, that that person can feel their pain, because a Dean and a Tony can't. They're too far removed, and so you've been there just a year ago. So even what you had to learn and the things that you didn't need to learn. Also, that's
Yeah.
the other thing that's really
Yeah.
important. You can save them a lot of time because you've spent the time, and
Right.
you've paved the road, so to speak, for them. So that's really important. So,
Yeah, and I'm a very organized person as well. So as I'm learning these things, I'm like culling it. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
this is like steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, so that
right,
when women are new women coming into this are asking basic questions like, okay, they're not going to necessarily answer that, but let me just tell you right here, like that cheat sheet.
exactly. Well, that's really important. I see that Elise says this is awesome. This is something she was looking for. So, along with Elise, if anybody in the audience wanted to contact you, I know there are several ways to do it. In the tickler, they can contact you by email. That would be kimrileycoaching@gmail.com,
Yeah.
or on Facebook, and that's facebook.com/Kim Riley Coach, or by calling or texting you. And the number is 303-585-1516. And after this interview, I'll make sure that all that information is in the comment below our interview. So,
Okay.
so tell me, Kim, if my audience, we're talking about progress nexers. What would you say to my audience, the members of my audience, and those especially in the marketing program? What advice would you give them? They've gotten this progress next. They're holding on to it. It's the thing that's going to get them their online business. What advice would you have for them, having been
Um,
there, having been there before?
yeah. I guess I would say it just to kind of how I said it toward the beginning of our interview. The world is absolutely in a financial crisis, and for a lot of different reasons, the war in Ukraine, a lot of different things going on.
Right,
And in the US, and not just here, I mean, Europe is going through this too, like huge inflation
right,
rates going on. The feds are trying to, they'll increase the interest rates to curb that, to increase the value of the dollar. I mean, there's all this stuff. And this is something I knew nothing about before a year ago, just to say.
yeah,
But anyway, my advice is that this is something we all need to know, because Antonia and Dean both talk about this, that in recession is when a lot of millionaires are made, and that's true. And not maybe, yes, my goal to become a millionaire, that's true. But I think, so my advice in general is we need to get educated, period.
Right.
We need to be educated about what is going on out there. And even if we're developing our business as a coach and how to market that and all
Mhm.
that part of Project Next for that, which is phenomenal, great. And that's what they also, right, Tony and Dean preach is like self-education industry is not going anywhere. Like you need to kind of, figure this out, how to make money online. I also think that part of that, or have your own business efforts going. Part of that, I think, is the financial piece, because
Right.
we need to know, we need to educate ourselves about what's happening, that a
Mhm.
recession is impending, that, if we have a regular 9 to 5 job, and admittedly, I have a couple of different part-time jobs where I'm trading my time for money, but
Right.
time is our most valuable resource. We can't get it back ever. So we need to learn this stuff about the financial world out there and learn a way to make money from our money, period. Like, so, when I'm coaching, that's trading my time to coach.
Right. Right.
There's, so in addition to that, we need to know, and we need to learn how to make money from our money. And that's investing,
Mhm.
long-term investing. There's also, at least the work that I do with the trading, it's an hour a day I spend, or 2 hours a day. But it's learning how to compound the money I've got and how to have my money make money, because in the recession, we have a job, hours are going to be cut, wages are going to stall, or you'll be let go. Companies are trying to, stay
Right.
afloat. There's already been 2 banks that have failed this last week. I mean, it's coming. So my advice is do whatever you can to educate yourself
Right.
on ways that you can make money from your money. And it's like now the banner on my Facebook page, it's like, and the tips that I have that just kind of start you along that way. We have got to learn that. We've got to learn how to make money from our money, because there's not, yeah,
Because
we
nobody's coming
cannot
to
depend on
save
the
you.
jobs anymore. We can't
Nobody's
depend
coming to
on
save
jobs.
you. Yeah.
We can't depend on our retirement. I mean,
Yeah.
I have a friend who retired 10 years ago in his mid 40s, so young. He could do it, but even a couple of weeks ago, he was saying, I'm a little bit scared. I've had my stuff in the stock market, and it's like, and it's true. It goes up and down for sure, but it's been losing. I've cashed out some of his stuff. It's like, it's a little bit scary. I was like, okay, that is one way to make money from your money, is to have it in the stock market, and it will come
Right.
back up. But there's other ways to do that on a shorter term. So that's my biggest advice, is like, make sure that how to secure yourself as we come into
Right.
this recession.
Okay, well, that's great advice because, we hear from Tony and like you, I was at the UPW, and that's come, he's already spoken about that, and he will be
Mm,
speaking about it some more because we've
yeah.
known, we know what Tony does. And so I just want to thank you so very much for being here
Yeah.
today and for really taking an hour or the time away from the UPW to be here with
Right.
us.
Yeah.
And I'm really sorry about the screw up about the time, but
Well, that's okay.
here in Mexico, they're no longer changing the time, and so
We need to
I
do that
was
as well in the States.
yeah, exactly. So that's a whole other issue that we're not even going to touch. It's my apologies for not being on top of it, and so thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Kim, for being here. Thank
Yeah.
you for what you do. Thank you for your willingness to help women from the age 40 to 60 to find that financial independence, and you have a roadmap that will help them do that. So if anybody wants to contact you, I will put all that information in the comments below. Do you have
Okay.
any kind of final word that you want to say before we part ways today?
I don't know. I want to have some like ending piece, like Dean and like Dean and Tony always do. I mean, they're so well
Right.
spoken.
Yeah.
um,
I know.
yeah, I mean, not really, other than to really be on top of that, to think about,
Yeah.
because this is true for me now, to have multiple, that's the other thing, to have multiple streams of income, to think about what that is.
Income.
Your coaching is
Yeah,
one thing, or
exactly.
whatever is one thing, but there are other ways to have streams of income, to not have all of your financial, stuff and your income producing in one basket. So
In one
I don't know.
basket.
That's it. I mean, that's it for me. That's why I'm doing this. That's how I started down this, in addition to my coaching. And uh,
Absolutely.
Yeah, don't put it all down in one direction. Yeah,
It's great
but
advice, and
there
it's
you go.
advice we've heard all our life,
Yeah, for sure.
diversification, diversification, diversification.
And
So
to do, I guess that. So here's my last Tony Dean thing: is like do what you find something you love, you're
there you go.
passionate about, pursue that. Yes, you're only a few steps in front of your ideal client, and that's good. That's where you want to be. You have something to teach. You have something. I mean, all of those same messages, and
And so,
yeah. And so just find out what that is, and yeah,
so
and go
thank you.
go.
Thank you, Kim, for being here. And I just want to say to my audience, as you well know, my team and I, we have this marketing program that we teach you how to market yourself online organically. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you either private message me and I'll get you more details, or we can get on a call to see if this program's a good fit for you too. It's not for everybody, just like, so, so we'll find out with a short phone call. And so, thank you for being here. Thank you, Mariah, for being here and staying with us. Elise, thank you for being here also. And Kim,
Yeah,
one more time, thank you. Thank you for
yeah.
your
Thank
time
you, Lucy, for the
and your
opportunity.
generosity. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
bye for
Okay, bye everyone.